Thank you. I'm Brian. I'm genuinely humbled to share this time with you. All right. I want you to imagine being in your dream job. You're fulfilling your life's purpose and service to others every day. Think of the energy you've committed and the literal blood, sweat, and tears you've poured into your goal of leaving an enduring impact. All the sacrifices you and your family have made, they've been worth it because of the meaning that your career gives to you and the lives of others. Now imagine you've been ordered to do something that crosses a line you're not willing to cross. You're given a choice. Compromise your values, surrender to the circumstances, accept it is what it is, or stand up for what you believe in with the full understanding that it's going to jeopardize or maybe end the career you've worked so hard to build. Just cross the line or watch your career get snatched away. What would you do? I mean, it is what it is, right? No. It is what it is has become the most accepted form of surrender in the English language. It masquerades as perspective, dresses itself up as the wisdom of somebody who's been around long enough to know how things work. I submit to you that those 5 words mean something else entirely. They're the sound of a good person who's been worn down. Someone who once raised their hand, spoke truth to power, and paid a price for it, and who then decided to never pay that price again. I don't share this with you from some lofty academic or theoretical perspective. I share it as a man who unexpectedly faced an extremely difficult challenge to my ethics and my character. Someone who faced the most difficult test to my moral courage, unfortunately, in front of the whole country. So in order for you to see clearly through my lens, I want to share a little bit more about what I'm about, myself. First and foremost, I'm a father, a husband, a son, a brother, and a friend. I've climbed mountains and I've fallen down them, literally and figuratively. I've surfed the coasts of Africa, got over 1,000 skydives and counting, many of which as an instructor, tossing my teammates out of planes and teaching them how to fly. Worked undercover, been threatened by drug dealers, organized criminals, and terrorists. I've paid Libyan militiamen for safe passage into Tripoli. I've been in combat in the Middle East alongside our nation's most elite special operations forces. I've been shot at in the Syrian desert, hung over in the streets of Belfast, and sobered in the tunnels of Israel. I've led and conducted hundreds of tactical missions as an FBI SWAT member and a member of our elite hostage rescue team. I've led teams against human trafficking and child exploitation. I had the privilege of serving as the hostage rescue team's commander. I've buried friends, I've helped save lives, and unfortunately, I've had to take lives. And then last year, my career abruptly ended. In January of 2025, I received a phone call asking if I'd be willing to serve temporarily as the FBI's deputy director. The deputy is the number 2 in charge of a 38,000-person organization responsible for protecting the American people and upholding our Constitution. No pressure. After assessing the alternative consequences of saying no, which was tempting, I reluctantly said yes. And on January 20th, shortly after the presidential inauguration, a list was published of the people tasked with leading all the U.S. government agencies. And well, due to what I can only assume was a clerical error, my name was on that list. Not as the deputy, but as the director of the FBI. And just like that, I became what has been referred to as the accidental director. Not long after I took on that role, I was ordered to take a series of actions that would have jeopardized or maybe terminated the careers of many of those I was newly tasked to lead. Thousands of people. These weren't faceless employees. They were my friends and mentors. People I'd risked my life for and with in furtherance of our collective mission. People with families who had sacrificed unspeakable amounts. People who were just doing their job, pursuant to and in accordance with the rule of law. Well, I considered those orders to be unethical and wrong. And so with the backing of my team, I did what I was trained to do best. Protect people. I communicated immediately and honestly with the entire organization to let them know what was going on. They deserved to know. I was one of them. I was from the rank and file. And while I'd always stood on their shoulders, it was time for me to stand in the breach. The leaders around me in those moments were nothing short of heroic, and I remain in their debt. They knew I hadn't asked to be put in that position. But I could also sense that they were wondering if I was a little bit crazy. You see, at the time, even after 21 years of service, I wasn't eligible to retire. I was too young. Which meant that if I did get fired, I'd lose my pension, my livelihood, my family's health benefits, everything. But for me, it wasn't actually a choice. And so I explained to them, the only choice that I considered that I actually had was that of being beaten with a stick, a belt, or a wrench. And I chose the wrench. Now, I wasn't ignorant to the fact I couldn't stop all this from happening. Times were chaotic and unpredictable, but fortunately, somewhat, chaos and unpredictability were my specialty. There was also a lot of fear and fractured trust. And so I made a promise to my 38,000 teammates. It wasn't a promise about outcomes, that everything was going to be all right. It was a statement of solidarity, a commitment to the collective. I'm going to stand by you, and you'll never walk alone. I couldn't promise that the institution would immediately do the right thing. I'd been around long enough to know that institutions don't always reward integrity on a convenient timeline. I certainly couldn't guarantee balance. But for those of us that are called to do what we do, we understand balance is unachievable. And so I promise presence. I'm all the way here with you. Your risks are mine, and your integrity will not be swallowed into silence while I still have a voice. And then something happened I didn't expect, but I'll always remember. The workforce responded. People who were scared found a little more courage. And I learned that when organizations are under that kind of pressure, people can be desperately hungry for anybody just to tell the truth out loud, to stand up with full knowledge they're going to get knocked down. The bar wasn't heroism. The bar was honesty. I want to disabuse you of something I think does a disservice to the idea of courage. In the fairy tale version of stories like this that we like to tell ourselves, the person who stands up for what's right is vindicated. The institution recognizes its error. The courageous person is restored. Justice is done. It's a deeply satisfying narrative. It's not always what happens. After leaving my service as the acting director, I returned to the ranks. And a few months later, I was fired. Neither dignity nor any process afforded, just a one-page letter emailed to me on a Friday afternoon. I don't share this with you for sympathy. I'm good. I have my family, my friends, and a certain knowledge I did what I thought was the right thing to do. And I can look myself in the mirror knowing that. That's not to say I don't struggle. I do. I miss my team. I miss the purpose my career gave me. I share this with you because I think we have a responsibility to be honest about the true costs of moral courage rather than just celebrating it in retrospect. What happened to me didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened at a time in a context where good, capable, serious people learned that speaking up carried too high a price. You can be a part of an organization filled with skilled, decorated, brilliant, deeply experienced people, and that organization can still fail catastrophically, not because of incompetence, but because of a culture where it is what it is has become the anthem of survival. That culture doesn't appear overnight. It's cultivated, one interaction at a time. One meeting where someone raises a concern and is subtly embarrassed for it. One engagement where speaking truth to power carried a quiet but unmistakable cost. Silence becomes security. Conformity becomes comfort. Complacency becomes safe. It is what it is. So back where we began. It is what it is not wisdom. In most of the contexts where we reach for it, it's the learned response to the pain of having once tried to do the right thing and been punished for it. It's what happens when someone who once cared very much tried to do something about it and got burned, and then who slowly and understandably built a wall between themselves and the cost of caring. I could have very easily said it is what it is and quietly complied with my orders. I'd probably still be employed. Might not have even been blamed for it. But I'd be carrying the immeasurable and unforgivable weight of cowardice. And I'm just not built like that, and I don't think you should be either. Like I said, I never actually had a choice. On the hostage rescue team, our purpose is in our motto, Servare Vitas, to save lives. Physical courage is a part of our fabric. It's an expectation. I learned that moral courage is something different. But some things are just worth cashing it all in for, even if it's just a moment, an opportunity to stand up for people, for what's right or what you believe in. That doesn't make me special by any means. I was just unwilling to accept any alternative. We're all confronted with choices every day. Choices to speak or stay silent. Choices to protect others, protect ourselves. Choices that might require you to stand in that breach with full knowledge of the consequences. That thought can be both terrifying and liberating. It implies that nobody gets to be a bystander. It means nobody gets to shrug off a broken institution as if that brokenness belongs to someone else. We are the institution. And if it's messed up, the fix is on us too. You can choose to be a member of the fellowship of the miserable, or you can rise and pick up the pieces together and for each other. Listen, I'm a flawed man. I am far from immune to failure, and I am often wrong. I stand before you as someone who's been battered and tested, someone who wears the scars of hard-earned experience and carries the lessons learned, someone who cares little about success but strives for significance. It is what it is. Come on, man. The next time you hear those words or you feel them rising in your chest, just stop. Take a second. Ask yourself something. Are you truly at peace with what's about to happen and the fact that you can't change it? Or are you just afraid of what it's going to cost you to change it? If it's the former, relax, all good. There's things we can't change. And peace with that is a true virtue. But if it's the latter, if somewhere beneath that shrug is someone who knows something's wrong here and is choosing silence because silence feels safe, then know this. The cost of silence and inaction are almost always higher than the cost of standing up. You just pay it later when it's too late. Surrender will always show up and collect. I'm not saying that moral courage is the absence of fear. It's not. It's the decision of a servant leader who's gritty to act in spite of that fear, for the safety of the people you might serve, for the institution you may have given your life to, for the people on either side of you who might be too junior, too vulnerable, or too alone to speak for themselves. When you make the choice to stand up for who and what you believe in, you'll never stand there alone. Someone who has stood there before is telling you right now, it will always be worth it. Not because everything's going to be okay. Not because you're going to get showered in praise. But there's a certain serenity and peacefulness to the acceptance and the knowledge that some things are just more important than you. And when you take account for the moments that defined you in your life, when it was really hard, but when it mattered most, you'll know you did the right thing. It is what it is. Nah, I refuse to accept that. It is what we make it. We're the architects of our destiny, not the victims of it. Thank you.